Hello there and welcome along to another episode of the New Vinyl Review. My name is Rowley, and each week on this particular vlog I choose some of my favourite new vinyl releases. Sort of that's what it says on the tin. New music, reissues and a few chosen little nuggets to throw into the occasion as well. On to this week's first new release. Actually, this has been out for a little while now, but I feel like I need to bring it to your attention because it's a beautiful album. It is the album Goon, and it is performed by a new singer-songwriter who goes by the name of Tobias Jesso Jr. When I first heard this record, it sort of connected with me in a way that probably a lot of contemporary music doesn't connect these days, because it is such an amazing, simple singer-songwriter experience as far as a listening experience goes. Tobias has taken pretty much every performance on the album as being a vocal and piano-led performance, which is quite unusual for him apparently, because he is a guitarist by nature. But the story goes that he was in transit between his home country of Canada and Los Angeles, and he had to put all his guitars into storage, and had this burning ambition and desire to write this album. It's a breakup album, by the way, so it sort of brings a little tear to your eye when you're listening to it. And he needed to write the album, so he could only work on the instrument that he had available to him, which was apparently a piano. Now, a lot of people have been talking about this album since it's come out. Apparently Adele tweeted it and it sort of set the world alight, and there's been many sort of comparisons with great classic sort of singer-songwriters of the 1960s and 1970s, like Harry Nilsson, like Randy Newman, like Emmett Rhodes, all of them very, very credible names. I'll tell you what I hear Billy Joel, and trust me on this is not a bad thing, but that's sort of what I got from it. Take, for example, this track.
So long, my only friend, I guess we gave it a try. And then I guess we tried again, I don't remember why. Well, nothing's as hard to do as just saying goodbye.
It's a really, really lovely album. And I mentioned before, it's an album that's the majority of songs are written around a breakup with a girlfriend at the time. But what I like about that is he draws upon the experience of it, but it feels like it's quite a positive experience as well. He doesn't wallow in the self-pity of so many breakup albums that tend to do that. Goon. So here we go. The next release is actually a reissue of an album that originally came out in 1979. Now, back in 1979, there was a genre of music, wasn't really given a tag at the time, that was sort of personified a lifestyle that would have been led by anyone living in California in the late 70s. The musical genre I refer to is soft rock. AOR, soft rock disco, AOR disco, call it what you will. It was musical movement that was led by the likes of Boss Skaggs, the Doobie Brothers, Daryl Hall and John Oates. Very, very polished productions, almost like blue-eyed soul vocals running throughout all of the records. It was, well, listen, you know, I've got to say, I was a teenager when this music was knocking around originally, and I loved it. I absolutely adored it. I couldn't get enough of it, and much to the sort of harassment of my mates at the time who were getting into new wave and, well, coming out of things like prog rock and going into things like punk rock and new wave. And my heart lay really, really with the ways of soft rock and other such slightly girly music, because that's what it was. Boss Skaggs' Silk Degrees is one of my favourite albums of all time. Anyhow, one of the unsung heroes of the soft rock movement of the late 70s was a chap by the name of Ned Doheny. And Ned released a string of albums that never really caught fire, but have over the last couple of years, since the musical genre has come back very much into fashion, has sort of really come back into a trend of its own. So it is with great pleasure that I announce the reissue, actually it only originally got issued in Japan in 1979, so it's the first proper issue of the album Prone by Ned Doheny, and it's a jazz funk delight, and this is the opening track that I'm going to play for you. I did just mention there that the musical form that is soft rock has sort of come back into quite a popular thing just recently. There's some amazing compilations that are out there, but all you've got to do is check a few albums that are big albums of the last couple of years, the likes of Daft Punk, the likes of Mark Ronson's album, and they've all got tracks on there that allude to this incredibly polished 70s studio disco sound that was knocking around at the time. There is a theory, I don't know if I'll go along with this, but there is a theory, because when you listen to these albums, there's such an incredible sheen in the production. They're really, really smooth, and a lot of them have, and when you listen to them on vinyl, a lot of them got quite a high end on them. And there is a theory that everyone was doing so much cocaine at the time of the original recordings of the albums, that when you do a lot of coke in the studio, your ability to hear goes slightly off whack, and that's why the engineers would turn up the high end, so to speak. It's a theory. I wouldn't like to try it out. On to our play out tune for today. I have only just heard about this tune, okay? So I'm almost lost for words as to how incredible this record is, and the fact that I've never heard about it makes it even better. So this is a reissue of an album from 1977. It's an album that was made by a 7-year-old boy. Yep, that's pretty interesting start to the explanation. His name is Francis the Great. It's I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold this up in front of you, in front of me, so that I can then read the sleeve notes on the back. And it says, "Hello fans. I don't need to tell you much about Francis the Great, as he is well known to you. Really? Most of you have been entertained several times by this talented young boy during his innumerable funny plays presented in France." And it goes on to list this whole string of things that this 7-year-old boy has done. So this is Francis the Great with the track Look Up in the Sky. Get hold of this, it's amazing.